Finally, it's out there, ATAS X, a new version of the order flow and volume trading platform ATAS, and now with more speed and finally compatible with Mac. I'm using ATAS for a couple of years from now, and basically when I was traveling, I always used my MacBook for trading with ATAS over Parallels. And if you experienced like using ATAS over Parallels, you know it's really annoying because it's using your RAM. Like I have 24 gigabytes of RAM in my MacBook M4, and it's literally using your 20 gigabytes of RAM. I gave it 20 gigabytes of my RAM for the virtual machine, and it's using it for CPU power and also the graphics, I guess. And anyway, it was like really slow, and I was really fucked up because using like 2 charts and a heat map did not work on my powerful MacBook M4. So I'm really happy that it's out there now, and I can honestly tell it's a complete game changer of speed on Mac. It runs so fluently, and I will show you in a couple of seconds. Before, let's go into some slides. Here we have some key facts about ATAS X. It's still in a beta version, so when you use it, it can lag sometimes, or when I use the ATAS heatmap, for example, sometimes my ATAS is crashing. So it will take a couple of time until everything works perfect. But in general, it has like 2.5 times more speed, says ATAS. And honestly, when I compare it to using it over Parallels, from using it over Parallels and using it on my MacBook now, it feels like second nature. So it's so fast. I would say it's like 100 times more fast than using ATAS over Parallels. If you use it on a Windows PC, probably you experience like the 2.5 times more speed. On my Windows PC with the new ATAS heatmap rendering and my AMD graphics card with 16 gigabytes of graphic, it's really a nice experience as well. And now finally update, you have like the Mac version natively, and you can use it on your Mac OS and on the Silicon, and also I guess on the Intel process source. Watch it on the website to see the real details. I guess the minimum requirements were also like 4 gigabytes of VRAM. All Macs have like at least 4 gigabytes VRAM on the M chips especially. So now it's running really fast. And you have like the Rithmic Plug and Play. So I will show you what I mean by that. So you don't need to have Rithmic open because Rithmic is still natively only for Windows. So you cannot have a Windows Rithmic instance or a Rithmic Mac instance and ATAS instance open at the same time. So you need to connect over Plug and Play via ATAS with Rithmic. Maybe you're using it already over the Plug and Play version. It works on the older ATAS version, but now on the ATAS X on Mac, I just want to say it only works like that. And let's go into the platform ATAS X. Probably you are excited from now. And here is ATAS X. Let's launch it on Mac. We go on login. So now we are in ATAS X finally, and I will just show you like some really basic features. Then I will create my chart setup inside of ATAS X because I'm traveling today and want to trade on my MacBook anywhere else. So let's create my chart setup also inside here, so you can basically see how to create charts and stuff. And the first thing what I would want to say is like it's really fast. So if you zoom in, zoom out here, if you want to see like something in the footprint, it's really fast. I'm using the Apple mouse here, the Magic Mouse, and the handling with the Magic Mouse is, yeah, you need to get used to it, honestly. But if you use like a normal mouse, it's really fast, and the same experience like at the Windows PC, or even I would say with the ATAS X version, faster than the old version from ATAS on the Windows PC. And yeah, I really like it. So if you used ATAS before, you probably know how to navigate around and maybe how to like draw a horizontal line and all this stuff. So I will not show you like every ATAS feature, but for sure you can add indicators, you can add like your drawings and all this stuff. And yeah, you can add your trading terminal over here, for example. Everything is like basically the same. But what is really cool, I would say, is the handling of the new tabs here, of the workspaces. So for example, if I want to have like my ES workspace over here and want to have like an NQ workspace, I can just name it NQ and, for example, load NQ over here. And then basically what happens is we have like a lot of data to load now, but we have like both charts here, and we can switch from an NQ setup and an ES setup. And what is new is also that we can add, for example, a second chart over here and have like another ES instance. And if we want to also have like another NQ instance, we can also add it over here. And now we have like a real Workspace, imagine if we have like also an NQ heatmap, ES heatmap and everything set up over here, then you can just like switch here really fast between the workspaces. And if you trade like maybe in the M15 chart and you trade like more markets like ES, NQ, CL, GC and all the stuff, then you can literally like have a really nice workspace navigation, and you don't have to go like on the Windows bar every time and need to search for your charts. If you don't have like a lot of screens and you need to navigate maybe with like one screen, and I really like it for traveling from my MacBook, because then you have like this one screen over here and you can basically switch between the ES and NQ really fast. Yeah, and if you're a Mac user, you probably know that every settings you have like in the top, and I don't have the screen recording at the top bar, but in general, if we want to go to connections, you can see it on the top bar. There's the edit file and there's also the connection file. And if I click on connections, it loads up over here. I already connected my Lucid 50K account over Rithmic, and then you basically connect it here and everything works like the same. So if we want to connect over Rithmic, we can set it up over here, the logging details, and then you have basically also all the prop firm connections over here, and then you click which prop firms you use, and then you log in and password, log in, and you're basically logged in. So from now, I will just create my chart setup because I'm out of office later and want to trade from ATAS X. So basically today I would only trade ES, so focus on ES and close NQ over here. Then I will just start easily with one chart. I'm currently using, I really love it, the 7X chart, because it kind of shows reversals more easier than a typical candlesticks charts. For example, this double tops and also engulfings, they are kind of, I think, more probable than in a typical minute chart. Then I will go inside here and add the VWAP, because I'm using VWAP sometimes for entries. In my second playbook and in my first playbook, I use VWAP for targets. Now we added VWAP, so I will make like nothing special for today and leave the colors like they are actually. Then I'm only trading the RTH and only need the RTH regular trading hours for VWAP, because there's the most volume traded, and the VWAP is, I would say, most reliable. Or anyway, I backtested it for my strategy, and I really like the VWAP pullbacks after breaking the initial balance in the RTH. So I backtested it for me and it works. So yeah, I only need the RTH trading session and don't need to be confused about like all the data before. So skip the overnight basically, and now we want to add the initial balance indicator from ATAS. Yesterday I found that there's an initial balance indicator, like also the extension lines over here from the initial balance. I only use this initial balances. For example, here yesterday we had like a break-in of the initial balance, and here we had a reaction. I went long, but then got stopped out because we had a shift from gamma to net negative, and then I thought, man, like this is a breakout from IB, and there ATAS crashed yesterday because of the heat map, and then I got stopped out. So I had like one long from the VWAP over here and one long over here and got stopped out. So kind of break even there. Anyway, now we have the initial balances. I think I will make the initial balance extensions like transparent. So now I deleted the extensions and we just have the initial balance and VWAP. And for sure, we will add the prop control indicators. And it also works on ATAS X. So now we have like the prop control overlay, the trade sync and the GEX. This is currently working. So let's go into prop control and connect the trade sync. So we are here inside of prop control, and then we go on settings. At first we need to generate API key for sure. Generate API key. And after that we need our, I just copied the account ID and click apply. And what happens, connected, waiting for trades. And what happens with the trade sync is that every trade is basically connected to prop control and appears here inside of the journal and your analytics, your dashboard, the prop coach and all the stuff. So you have your journal over here, and every trade is synchronized to prop control from now with prop control trade sync. The prop control GEX indicator is also working for ATAS X. So what we have here is my whole chart setup. So we have the initial balance for my playbook 1 and playbook 2. So initial balance fades and initial balance breaks, and then VWAP pullback, and also the gamma indicator, the GEX indicator, what helps me to have more confidence and more conviction for my trades. So basically yesterday was a really nice example. So we had the pullback here, or the fade from the initial balance, and I went long, but net gamma, the regime, turned negative. So what it basically means, if the regime turns negative, the hedgers need to give up their positions. So they need to sell their options, they need to sell their futures, whatever how they are hedged in which side, but they need to give up their positions. And this is why this move accelerated from here. So this was a clean breakout from the initial balance in combination with gamma exposure. A couple of minutes before, we still were in a net positive gamma exposure. And this is why after the initial balance breakout and the nice dip over here, I'm more keen to trade reversals and not breakouts like over here in a net negative environment. So this is basically the context for my strategy. So that's basically it for ATAS X. I really like the platform, and we will see how it runs trading later out of office. I will keep you updated next week. And from here, I would say it's really faster. It's 100 times faster than in parallels for sure. And it feels really smooth. Also the indicators, except of one indicator, the PropControl overlay, the GEX and the PropControl trade sync is working so far. So really cool. And also the VWAP and initial balance indicators from ATAS previously also works. Adding the indicators, moving the charts around and getting through the platform feels really great. So yeah, link for ATAS X is in the descriptions. If you're not using ATAS so far or want to use ATAS X, you can have a look over there. And if you want to use the PropControl trade journal and connect it to ATAS, then link is also in the description with a 14-day free trial also to the GEX indicators. And if you like this video so far, please leave a comment or a like or whatever subscription. Thank you and see you in the next video.